okay, we fought for more books, but this year it kind of trickled down and went down. I do understand new technology, but you cannot put the importance of the actual kids, because a lot of these kids don't even have internet at home. So I would like to see more increase in the books, the new books, in this budget. The 465, no, 631. 631. Besides the 631, with the library, that's my only thing. Anything else you need, Miss
Where you
Lucia?
at?
I'm on page 88.
Okay.
Are we good?
Uh,
We good?
Yes, we're good, sir.
Okay, we need
Thank
more
you.
books. Thank you. We got.
I'm looking at you.
I know. No. I know. I'm asking for more books.
Very
So
quick question. Do we need
Yes.
more e-books or more books, actually, or more
Books.
computers?
Lucia Gonzalez, Library Director, Mr. Mayor, Council. The library has developed its digital collection as well as its print collection. In our print collection, we have emphasized digital because we never had one 3 years and before, and then we started growing our digital collection. We have come a long ways from not having a book budget since 2008 and then regaining a book budget in 2013, and that is why we're so low in our printed collection. There was a big gap of time in which there were no books purchased for the library. The collection ages, and we have to weed. Weeding is a process of pulling books out that are obsolete, especially in business technology and all that. They should not be more older than 5 years, because then our patrons get the incorrect information. So there was a loss in that sense, not a growth of the collection, and that's why we are at less than 1.3 books per capita, way
1.3.
below than any standards.
so it's half of where we should be.
The average in the state is 3.5.
That's what I'm saying.
The
So we'd
expected
have-
average by American Library Association is 4.5 per capita.
Jesus.
But that is the reason why there's a history.
So
of
how much
that
would we
there.
need to get up to speed, just in your explanation?
Yeah. In our collection development, especially of the printed collection, it takes, we have to have a plan for replacement of classics and regular books that are expected to be in support of the school curriculums and so on, as well as popular reading. And our current budget for the print material is half of the 50,000, which, because the other goes for subscriptions like magazines and electronic subscriptions and ebooks.
So give us a number.
If I would give you a number for the printed collection, I would say 45,000 for printed books.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that means that we got to look at how do we increase that, or at least trying to double that. Thank you, ma'am. Purchasing, and I think that's my last department. Is that the last one?
Yes, sir.
Why are you shaking your head like that, Arthur? It's like, thank God. Purchasing, surprisingly, they went down. So the only biggest thing is the increase in the conference travel and that. What's that explanation?
For the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. I believe that there was really a very nominal increase for the conference.
No, it
travel.
is. I'm not complaining. I just wanted an explanation because it doubled. I mean, it could be $1, but if it went to $2, I just wanted to know why. That's all. I'm not complaining, because yours, out of most of them, tremendously went down overall. So I'm not looking at most of them. It's just that one, and it's not really that serious to me, that Mr. Estrada. So I'm fine. Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and my colleagues on here. My thing again, when we overall going through this budget, I know where the deficit is and what we need to do, but at the same time, and I'm not talking about shifting people, but we are increasing staff. And that's a concern to me, because it does not equal, when you talk to the people on the street, it does not really, we have an organization of almost 400 or 500 people, however, not counting the police department. I think we need to put the residents first, and this budget does not reflect that, so that's why I'm opposed to charging them anything. That's number one. So the red light camera is totally off. This, y'all need to find ways on charging, y'all pay for the, however we've been doing for the water, this garbage thing, which is horrible. Waste Pro, these residents should not be paying nothing. So we need to find ways, Mr. Manager, on my recommendation, not on the backs of these residents, because they really ain't got nothing in here, and increasing in their property are coming to us. So we need to look at not adding 10, 15, whatever the amount of people in per se. We need to really, really scale back and look at what we need to do to really address the residents' concern, and basically that to balance the budget. Because if you had 3 million, and this is just my proposal, 3 million with these 3 line items in the COLA, that's why I say, Ms. Meir and yourself and I have to understand, because I really, really don't understand, and I don't know nothing about, what is it, the workman's comp, the whatever that line item is, the pension, that it went up in every different department. I'm not talking about the COLA, which, you know which one, which line item? The risk, yeah, whichever, if you look at that, I think that right there, that's a big thing, but there's nothing we could do about that. Right. However, it does have to say something with the, where we need to cut. I think where we need to add is departments that give services directly to the residents. And I'm not really too happy, so I don't know how we're gonna do or what we're gonna do, but those are my overall concern. Those 3 line items that we find a way of incurring it. And if you wanna keep it, that's up to you, but it's I don't think the residents should be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You done?
Yes, sir, thank you.
And we're gonna start all over again from page 1. I'm just joking, just joking. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again, Mr. Manager. Thank you for the budget department. Thank you for all the people that I've met that answered my questions. I won't go over a lot of, I share some sentiments of my colleagues, but my major opposition is to the red light camera. I am definitely not in favor of balancing our budget with the red light cameras. I just want to put that on the record, and that's all I have to say on that.
You done? Carol, you said you have a few questions. Other questions? Are you
No, just, I had one thing I left out was CP&D, which I want to get some clarification. We passed a resolution, for the CBDG, and the administration is really 29 instead of 20%, and the manager explained that may include some from money or expenses from other departments. So, okay, so on the CBDG, we passed a resolution. You got the same number, but the administration was 141, and now it's, the total administration looks to be close to 227,000. So the administration is 29%, not 20%.
We'll get back to you on that, Councilwoman, like
So
you
he-
stated. Because we look at the calculation, make sure those other revenues aren't.
You're talking to me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I couldn't.
You talking
Okay,
to
that's
me?
what I'm saying. I said, you talking to me? So I looked at it, I saw it, and I just wanted to make sure, because there's like an extra 9% of administration, so where those expenses are coming from.
We'll get back to you.
The non-departmental items, there's a lot of, the grants, et cetera, there's a lot of question the way they were advertised. I know you've given me a breakdown which looks okay, but I'd like to see the next budget where I'm through, thank you. Sorry. Where it shows exactly what those are. We don't have for those who are wondering, we do not have a North Miami Scholarship Pageant. So, things were a little That was a $95,000 item. We haven't had one of those for about
She's
12
saying we
years.
should not have named it that in the
That's
line
the
item.
account number. No, but I was gonna say, I
That's a
thought we already
non-departmental.
provided you with the detail, but we'll send it.
You,
to
no, you've told me,
Okay.
but we've got a lot of residents still seeing or thinking that we have a $95,000 scholarship pageant. And things were combined, so I'd like to put them back in the line item so it's perfectly clear what the grants are on that. And we haven't,
You-
that's,
You
that I
done?
want to, then we talk about events, I guess, when we're ready to
You can
talk
go
about
ahead.
events.
If you want.
I'd like to lower them to $400,000.
Okay. You done, Scott?
I'm done. I'm waiting on you, Mr. Mayor. And
Mr. City Manager, my first question, who prepared the budget?
The budget office prepared the budget in working with the manager.
Okay, that's when you and the manager prepared the budget.
Yes.
Okay. And you have to send it to the state, right?
We
After
have,
approval.
yeah, we have to send it after the second approval at the next meeting.
Who's going to sign it? When we have to send the budget to the state?
No.
Who's gonna, we don't sign the budget, which,
It's an electronic signature that the budget
I-
office does. It's
I
an
don't think
electronic
you on rec,
so we,
It's an electronic signature, sir.
wait,
It's an electronic signature that, that goes in, that's basically it's a certification that the budget office is certifying it, that they have, the approval. We have to send your vote on the budget and everything to the state. So the budget office goes in, fills out the E-Trim forms. It's, basically state regulated forms that we have to fill out once the budget's complete. We'll then send in the vote, and we'll send in the verbatim minutes of you guys, taking the vote. We have to send in verbatim minutes, and that's the process. Advertisements from the newspaper that we put in, it's a whole package that we have to put together and then send to the state.
okay. And, for 2018, deficit was $8.1 million, right? On the budget standpoint.
The deficit, the deficit you're referring to is our actual deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was it?
It's a little, I think it was 8.3 million.
Yeah,
right?
it's an accumulated deficit.
Okay, for this year, do you anticipate any deficit?
We are looking at a deficit, but we're working with finance and budget right now to see where we're gonna close the year. There are some accrual entries and things that we do at the end of the year that will make up potentially make up that gap. So we're working on that right now as we speak.
So far, what is your projection?
Right now, I'm looking at a number that may be a couple $1 million right now.
How much?
I
When you
don't
say
have,
couple.
like $2 million.
instead of $8 million.
That's when for
Well,
this year,
this year,
for this year
operating
deficit, we're
Gotcha.
talking about a
Right.
$2 million deficit. That means it will be a total of about $10.1 million, right? From the actual,
Well, no, I'm not gonna put that on the record. I'm still working on the numbers, so if you'd like for us to give you a forecast, we'll work on.
if
one
I
and provide it.
understand, you anticipate
The
another
map, yeah,
deficit.
yeah. If
right?
we have the deficit.
Okay. That's mean 8.1 plus whatever is going to be in this year. That's mean we are going to add to the deficit. And this budget, what did you do differently that in order to eliminate that deficit for this year from the previous budget, Ms. Brown?
In previous years, we've budgeted carryover, and this budget includes no carryover.
You think that's what was one of the reasons we had that deficit year and year after?
Well, no, it's for a number of reasons. I
Can
personally,
you speak on the mic so people can?
it's for a number of reasons, but I personally can't address that because I was not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now can you set it on record that you were able to fix that, and we won't have that anymore?
What I'm saying is that, based on the way we prepared the budget, there is, in all likelihood, for 2020, we will not have a deficit.
Okay, for 2020, we won't have that.
Correct, but that depends on all of us.
If all the revenue are accurate.
That depends on all of us working together to stay within the budget.
Okay, and also if you collect 100% of the projection when it comes to revenue, right?
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, again, a budget is an estimate.
I understand that.
And, you know, you're gonna, in some instances where we project that we're gonna have less money, we bring in more.
Okay,
So, but, as I stated, if we stay within the budget, in all likelihood, we will not have a deficit.
thank you
But
very
if
much.
we do just the opposite,
Let me ask you a question. When they send you an invoice, right, and you realize that there is no budget for that money, what will you do?
I won't process it.
Okay,
However, if it's an invoice, I mean, I think that.
not
it's a-
an invoice, a request.
Okay,
for
yeah, because if
disbursement.
it's an invoice and we've already incurred the cost, then we
okay,
don't
yeah.
have a choice but to pay it.
Okay,
But, I would recommend that, you know, before, if they're, that the requests be, reviewed by the manager and approved accordingly. So that, and, I mean, if there's, if the money is not there, then I don't believe the request should be approved.
if I understand in your budget presentation or in your budget book, you budgeted $1.4 million new revenue from the red light camera, right?
1.1 million.
1.1. Without that, we won't be able to balance our budget.
No, we'll be out of balance by 1.1 million.
$1.1 million,
So
okay?
we'll have to
We-
find things.
That's
to
the first thing, 1.1 million. Secondly, in order for us to balance the budget, right, you propose that we sell a portion of land. Without that, we won't be able to balance our budget. Is that correct?
No, well, we're going to sell the land, okay?
Who's
and
we? Who's going to sell
The
it?
city.
Do you have an offer already?
Repeat that, sir?
In order for you to balance the budget, you anticipated $2.6 million from the sale of a piece of land.
That's correct.
What piece of land are we talking
That would
about?
be, we're referring to the 20 acres that the Olita partners have exercised their option to purchase. It was, this council approved it back in I think it was 2015, maybe?
2015.
2015.
I was there. Okay, okay. That's been,
I'm just answering.
yeah, but you said you anticipate that we are going to sell. You don't know if we're gonna sell.
According to our contract, it's not a question
Which
of whether
contract?
the contract this city executed with Olita partners.
As of right now, and Olita partner or Solemia or whatever it is haven't come before the city and said, I want to buy and give us a plan on that they are going to close by this year. That's when we don't know yet. It's negotiation.
The 20, yeah. So,
There's no, not you. We're gonna come there. We're gonna get there. Don't. We're not talking about the legal point. We're not. That's not what we are talking about.
Okay.
Because it's an option. They can come before you and say, listen. They can come and say they wanna buy 5 now, or they wanna buy 10, or they wanna buy 12.
No, they have exercised an option to buy 20. Period.
Okay, we don't have it yet. We don't know
Yes,
when
yes.
it's going to happen.
No,
Sir,
they-
yes, we do. They've
exercised the option.
exercised the option. They sent us 2 letters saying they want to purchase the property. They're exercising the option in the agreement. The only thing they're waiting for is for us to coordinate the closing. I mean, we've had a conversation with them maybe a month ago about
Not even
the
2
closing.
weeks.
Okay, that's mean you said we're going to close this year.
They're just waiting on us, sir.
Okay, that means in order for us to balance our budget, we are waiting for that money.
That is correct. That's
Oh.
or a portion, I shouldn't say all, a portion of that money is included as
What
one-time
about
revenue.
the rest of the money? Where we got all those transactions?
So the rest of the money would remain unallocated to follow, to get direction from the council on how you would like to proceed with
But
those funds.
why did you take $2.6 million from that?
Well,
money?
based on the process we went to get to a balanced budget and the constraints and things that we had, that was one of the assumptions that we relied on and are utilizing. That 2.6 is going as a direct offset to the 6.4 million in reserve that's in this budget.
What you mean? What do you mean?
So that one-time revenue, we have it allocated towards.
In order to present a budget, you have to show at least $5 million in reserve. You said another, that's mean if we didn't have that, you still will have to bring me a budget with $5 million in reserve.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's when you use that 2.6. On top of that, you're using the permit fee from the University of Miami, right?
And other development.
In the
yeah,
budget.
yeah.
But,
Not just University of Miami, but all other development as well.
in your presentation, it was increased by 44%, and you said it's because of that permit that's going to add another $1 million to the. That's why you use it.
It wasn't a reference to just one permit. That name was stated, but it's not just that one permit. But
In
yes,
permit fee, the budget, the revenue was increased by 44%,
absolutely, yes.
which is that's the first year you're going to have a 44% increase versus the 5 years, the past 5 years.
Okay.
Based on what did you make that determination?
The budget department worked with the department on developing that number. So you can, if you want us, we can provide you, I guess, more detailed calculations if you would like to see it.
If you ask me I just don't want to go yet in details because from what I understand, I don't see a balanced budget. First of all, you have, you add $1.1 million for the red light camera, and I don't see where the vote is coming. That's mean you're $1.1 million behind, and $2.6 million for the selling of those 20 acres, and I don't see how we're gonna add it to the budget just for us to have a balanced budget. That's when we almost $4 million from having a balanced budget for this year, and we don't know about the deficit for this year. That's when we almost $6-7 million apart in the budget. Am I correct or no?
Actually, sir, obviously when we present, a budget to this council, we work as a collective group to present a set of assumptions for you to do what you're doing right now, have a discussion and a debate on. I understand that some of the things, not everything that's in here is something that you all support. Some, even amongst yourselves, one might like it, the other one does not. That's part of the process that we've been going through my last 4 years here. So it's just part of the process. What we look for right now is for you to say, and I've heard already, this particular revenue is a non-starter. I don't particularly like this other one. So we take that feedback and we go work. There are assumptions in there, like I said, that I feel more comfortable with, particularly the sale of the land, because it's already been legally exercised. We already know what the price is, and we've had discussion with the buyer to say the number, tell me when you want to close and we'll close. True, we do need to go and work through the numbers that you don't like and increases and adjustments here and there. And we'll go do that work and work with each of you to get to that point, and we'll get there. However, and I need to be careful about this when you state this on the record, what you have in front of you is a statutorily balanced budget. We are required to present you with that, and that is what we've done. Now we are having debate on which assumptions you would like to modify. But we will return to you with, again, a statutorily balanced budget.
Another question. Let's see, you realize that at the end of the fiscal year, there is a $2 million deficit for this year. But for this year, how is going to affect the budget?
Unlike in prior years where we actually budget to use the surplus, and thus what happened this past year, we would have a detrimental impact. In this year, we actually did the budget not anticipating any support from the reserve. So what you have basically is a balanced budget in a vacuum. Nothing's going to affect, nothing that happens the remainder of this year will affect that number, the budget number next year.
Excellent. That's when instead of having $6.4 million reserve, you're going to have maybe 4.1.
No, remember what you have, I budgeted to add 6.4 to our reserve. That money is unallocated in the budget. So we would still have to operate for the completion of next fiscal year. And as the budget director stated, if we operate in that budget, the revenues come in as anticipated, at the end of that year, we would basically, after we close the books and do all that stuff, we should have $6.4 million left over that will then go as a credit against the current general fund GASB deficit of $8.3 million. Thus taking the steps we need to kind of reduce that number. Again, as directed by you guys in our retreats and our discussions.
I think before we move and ask to add or remove everything in the budget, reallocation of money, I think we should vote on those two policies. First of all is the red light camera. We have to vote if we want to use it to balance our budget, and secondly, the sale of the land at Solemia in order to balance the budget. And after that, we can move forward and see exactly what we want to change in the budget.
So, Mr. Mayor, just to get you correctly, you would like for us to vote on each of those line items, you are saying?
Those two, because
Those-
they use the red light camera. If we don't have a vote, that means we won't have the red light camera. That's when they're gonna have to change the
Do we
budget
need to
and
vote,
want-
or
I was
Oh,
gonna
you
say,
just
give me
vote?
a direction.
you wanted a vote? Okay. You wanted a vote. You wanted-
it's a lot of money. It's $4 million.
Okay.
It's not just.
Well, if you will allow me, Mr. Mayor, in the past, what you've done as a board, in the first hearing, you guys give me the direction. So if you say here and say collectively, do not use the red light camera as a revenue assumption.
No, at least at that point we know exactly the revenue. If we remove $4 million, I expect that you bring another budget of $69 million instead of just do things around. That's the way I would like to see it.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead, Councilwoman.
I have a question in terms of the sale of the land. So Solemia has an option, is exercising their option to buy. Is that a fixed price? Is that?
Yes, the
what-
20 is fixed. It's a fixed
So
price.
we couldn't ask for an increase on that?
This was
For the 20 acres, it's done. It's for the 20 acres, 20.4, whatever it is, at 400,000 an acre. It was based on a previous appraisal. That's been the only concern about those 20 acres is when they are going to close. But for that part,
If I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I guess the manager, the deputy, are you in agreement with the manager, the budget director, as well as the attorney? I'm assuming, on record, they have stated that they feel professionally comfortable that the 2.6 is, they're waiting on us, I'm assuming.
Actually,
Yeah,
all very due respect, sir.
yes,
I don't even have to wait on you. We can close.
got it.
I can
Okay.
call them tomorrow and say,
I
we're going to close.
got
the
it. So
okay.
with that, Mr. Mayor,
what
on
do you
record.
mean you don't have to wait? What are you trying?
You've already
They said we already gave it to
legislatively
them.
approved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, Mr. Mayor, just a little friendly amendment. They have
I
given
didn't
me.
put I
No,
didn't
no,
put
I know,
the-
but you,
Mhm.
you saying,
Mhm.
you made a
Okay, go
reference.
ahead.
I'm just
Mhm.
saying, I feel, and I know where you're coming from, because I don't want to be in the same situation, but I feel almost 100% in regards to the selling of the land. My issue is not that. I'm assuming 98% that is covered, that based on what I'm hearing.
What is covered?
Based on them saying that that they're gonna sell the land and all this, so I'm assuming they got.
No, what
that.
I want to make sure, Mayor and on the dais, we
Okay.
agree that the sale of the land is going to be used to balance the 2020 budget. I want it to be clear that we understand that. We're gonna use $2.6 million to balance the budget. We are using the money, $1 million to balance the budget, and we have the $1.1 million red light camera to balance the budget before we move forward.
Got it. Because my other thing is not so much that. My biggest concern is the utility and the stormwater.
We're gonna do that one by one.
One by one. Okay. We can't loop it together, or you prefer it one by one, or
The
how
first
did-
thing, let's go on the red light camera. Do we have a vote for? Do we have some?
Go ahead,
We're
Mr.
not gonna vote. Don't
No,
worry.
yeah, I
We're
was gonna
gonna
say, I would just strongly recommend you just give me direction.
Give you direction.
No, we. Okay. Do we have?
My direction is to leave it in. I think it's about time we bring safety back to our city. The money, it's not about the money, but this is a good time to bring our drivers into safety mode. It was brought up, I think you have numbers, I mean, we're not having a discussion, but less than 10% of our residents are getting the tickets. 90% of these people are going through our city, they're coming through. I was at my light yesterday, 2 people run the red lights.
That's when you for the red light. What about
I'm
to you?
100%
Okay.
money or not.
Councilman Galvez.
I'm generally not in favor, although I would have the discussion of having a very limited implementation if we have to go there. I originally voted for the 6 red light cameras that the former city council approved, and then administration took it
Expanded.
upon themselves to expand it to 23. That is way over the top. I'm not really in favor, but you can twist my arm and I can have a limited conversation.
But me personally, I'm not there. No red light camera for me.
Totally. I mean, it's a dead on arrival for me for so many reasons. And one of the reasons that we talked about, in 2015, when we took it off, if we want to, not criticizing the program, because I heard stats of it, reducing this. Here's the thing, and this is where it kind of pains me, whoever gave you that recommendation. I don't care if it's 2% or 1% of the population. You have a city where you are way below poverty level. Our city, unemployment, probably the highest in the entire county, up in 20-something% based on what Mr. Joy is saying. So when you're looking at poor people, $150 or whatever that amount is,
158.
158, who's on their fixed
277
income.
after 30 days.
I had these,
410 after 90 days.
Madam Vice Mayor, I understand, but this is.
They shouldn't run the red lights and they wouldn't pay for it.
Madam Vice Mayor, we could defer to do that because there's different things, these things where they would, there's a line that you don't pass, there's different things, that's why they were going to court and they were throwing it away, whatever the case is. If we need to do that, I think we have enough officers, because I already said, if you need to have them give tickets, then they need to be on the corner of 135th Street or hire more people to do that. That I'm in favor of. Not a camera, that's not, because that's an issue. And going back to my point, we are dealing with poor folks here who's trying to eat and do what they do. A lot of times these are unfair tickets, because a lot of times it's a line. If you pass the line, if you do this, regardless what. My point is that we have a city where you have folks who cannot put food on the table. And you are saying, and we fought hard enough to take it off, and you have some residents, if your excuse is, well, they shouldn't run a red light. There are some questionable things around it throughout the state of these lights or how they operate it. When we first had this discussion after it was taking off, my thing was we could have these cameras if they are issuing different type of citation, not necessarily red light, whatever the case is. For accident, I did not mind that. But for us to sit here and we know the type of folks that we have, and we're saying to ourselves, as you look at the police budget, we can't put more patrol or these people giving out the actual ticket. I don't mind police officers doing their job and giving out the ticket. I told you, if they go on 135th Street in the morning, they'll make over $2 million in one day. That's them people flying from 135th, from 17th to 7th Avenue trying to get on 95 and on both sides of the road. And I am scared that one of these kids that's going to Ben Franklin, so it's all over the city. So you don't need a red light camera. If we need to look at police doing what needs to be done, we could look at that. We just look at a big budget for that, 26 million, whatever the amount is, 23.
It's over
20
$3.5
something.
million increase for the past
So,
3-4 years.
You know, so I don't, when we look at the camera, we talking about poor folks. These things are very disproportionate the way they do it. It's something totally for me. So I'm totally against that. And if we're voting, I'm definitely on record.
What about you?
That was the first thing that I stated, is that I am not in support of red light camera to balance our budget.
Okay, that's when we are 1.1 that you need to find in order to balance the budget, and it seems like everyone agree on the $2.6 million to this.
With the 2.6 million, if they feel comfortable, I don't mind them. I'm going based on all the professional, from the attorney to the staff there, that they say they're gonna get that money in. They're waiting for us, so they could use that to, I mean, you said the addition, we will make the decision on what to use it for.
It's not, listen, it's not just the sale of the 20. There is an amendment on the agreement. It's more than just that.
That, okay.
Right.
Okay, it's not just the
That's
sale.
that's what I was going to.
That's what I was thinking. If we're talking about
stuff.
only selling the 20 acres, 20.4, okay. But if we are talking about amendment to the agreement that was signed before, it's a lot more negotiation that's need to be done in that aspect. That's mean we're not just
That's
talking
true.
about that.
That
That's
part.
mean if they wanna come and say they wanna exercise the 20.4 only,
They've already said that.
yeah, but that's mean it's not just that. It's a
No,
lot
they
of
want
things
more.
after
They've
That's
expressed they
when it's
want more, but
But I want to make sure that we understand that in order to
Yeah,
balance the
yeah.
budget, we are using 2.6 of this.
And let me be
that
clear.
piece.
what the mayor is referring to, the other stuff they want to talk about, is not in our budget, and we're not planning on using it. We haven't even talked about it. We're only talking about the stuff that we know we have legally in our bailiwick, and that's it. So, and I think all of you know, I think I've been trying to schedule a meeting with you to go over our analysis of the transaction with each of you, so we can talk about that.
Okay, and
I'm
You
looking
done?
forward to that meeting.
okay,
Yes,
another
Mr.
question, and I understand that 1.1 have to be taken out of the budget. You're not planning on getting it from the $850,000 reserve.
Huh?
Yeah, no, he's not gonna.
$800,000.
How much money are you planning to add to the reserve in order to offset the deficit from the $8.1
The six,
million?
right now, we have, in this budget presentation that you have with these assumptions, is
Mhm.
6.4 million.
6.4.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna reduce it with the red light camera.
I don't, right now, as I sit here, I don't know what we will specifically do.
It won't be that one.
No, I can't say that. I will have to go look at it.
It won't be that. I'm telling you, it won't be that one. You gotta find it, not that one.
So,
I know you were coming there.
Well, sir, I tell you what. How about this? How about I've heard some direction tonight. how about me and my staff, we sit with you guys individually and go through this?
But on
Because,
this,
but I have to say this, going through this process, and I know we need to cut and we need to do the affordable housing, we need to do all those things that
you
we've
did
done
not
the-
add, by the way, you did not add money for affordable housing. It's
What
just
do
the
you- what do you
it's
call
not,
it?
not. The CRA got nothing to do with the general fund. They didn't. It's the CRA.
But our
As a matter of fact, for the past
our
4
CRA
years,
money is TIF
you've been
dollars.
here
We
on the
just-
council. We've been adding money from the general fund to add to that program. This year we didn't. That's when there is no money add to it.
But we did achieve the goal that you set.
That's
which
not what we
is-
are discussing. We're not discussing the CRA budget. That money is the CRA. Talking
Okay,
about the
but-
general fund.
But sir, we have to have some flexibility to come up with a balanced budget. And
I
so-
understand that, but what I'm trying, the direction that we are giving you, you're not gonna use the reserve money to balance the budget when you have to take that 1.1 out.
Okay, but, and I'm saying, okay, I'm hearing what you're saying. I still have to go through my exercise and my process and figure out some scenarios for you guys to consider as a board.
Yeah, but understand when you come in at the next budget hearing, if you do that, that's when we're gonna have to spend another 3-4 hours in order for you to go back and come in with a balanced budget.
Okay.
And
Well,
on top of that, we're just talking about 1.1, and I heard you talked about the sanitation is another.
so that, how much is that?
You talked about
I want-
Westport. We're not talking about Westport. We're talking about
the storm-
sanitation.
Yeah, the stormwater,
No, we're talking about the sanitation. That's
Is
the
that what it
cheapest
is,
one. The
Mr.
356 is the cheapest one we can get.
Ms. Morgan, the 356 edit is, what's the total? The 356, so what are we looking to
Instead of
bring in to
250
balance?
is 356.
I know, but.
Or
what-
the
what-
difference, how much
what's
it
the-
is.
What's the
The
difference?
additional revenue,
Yes,
1,027,000.
so 1,027,000. I just want to know, my colleagues on this dais about this 1.7 million,
No, not 1.7.
1.27. I know, every penny counts.
1.027.
1.027 or
Yes.
1 point?
No, 1.027.
1.0, so 1 million, okay, so 1 point, okay. And that's for, what is it again? That's for the stormwater?
No.
Solid waste.
Sanitation, yeah.
Sanitation, okay. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see some, I want to hear Councilwoman Keys and Galvin and
What I see,
Councilwoman
it's
and you,
it's
Mr.
two,
Mayor.
we have two fees, the stormwater and the sanitation. And since the stormwater is only gonna affect the enterprise fund, is that correct?
No, this went from, no, that affects the general fund.
The stormwater,
Sanitation?
no, not the sanitation, I'm talking about the stormwater.
Raj, use the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the $1 million, that affects the enterprise fund, the stormwater utility fund.
No, the sanitation, the 1.27
Yes.
is going to affect the general fund.
Correct.
The stormwater is going to affect the enterprise fund, no? The water, yes.
yes,
yes.
Yes, okay. That's mean
Stormwater
what we
utility.
can do, and if we pass on the sanitation, at least, since the stormwater is going to affect the enterprise fund, we can continue to subsidize that. Maybe next year we will see.
that was my,
Yeah.
that was my initial.
Yeah.
We can do that.
We're gonna
can do
leave
that.
this,
Would
we're
that
gonna
be-
subsidize
If you,
the stormwater, and
if the
then we're gonna
direction
pass.
you're giving me is to forego the increase on the stormwater, we can do that,
Yeah.
because it doesn't affect the general fund.
Got it. And then, so the residents will not be getting an increase.
On the
storm-
water.
On the storm water.
Water.
But
The
on
stormwater.
sanitation, yes.
On sanitation,
Oh,
that's what I
Lord.
thought he just said,
Eight and a
yes.
half
How much is it?
dollars- $8.50 a month.
$25 every 3 months. That's what it is. The sanitation for 25.
Here's-
We
And
used to listen. People been crying about $8.1 million in budget deficit. We need to understand that we've been subsidized the sanitation for the past 5 years. That's mean now all we ask you is to pay $25 for the garbage pickup every 3 months.
But they don't pick it up, that's the problem.
Okay, let's hire someone else to pick it up. That's what we are doing. we can hire someone else to do
What
it.
what I can say, Mr. Mayor, and my colleague, I'm willing to negotiate, not negotiate, compromise in a better term, because, you know, part of compromising is not that you get everything. In a fair thing, I would say no to all three, but based on what I'm thinking, Vice Mayor Galvin, the mayor, and is saying that we kind of compromise on that one, that the stormwater, so that would be an increase of what to the residents?
No,
Yeah, that would
no,
be.
not for the stormwater.
Yes, it would be.
No,
We're
we
not-
change that. We compromise
We're
on
not,
that. They're
we're
not
not gonna
gonna.
increase.
Yeah,
We're
we're
not
not
gonna
gonna
increase
Just
that.
sanitation.
We're not going to increase that. It's only affecting the
The
enterprise fund. Yeah.
So, Ms. Morgan, let me get this straight, because I'll be extremely happy. I would just want to get it correctly. So, we got the red light camera out. The sanitation that we were gonna pass, we wouldn't do that. And then the stormwater, we would, which one? That's,
We're doing sanitation, we're not doing
Sanitation,
stormwater.
we are
Sanitation,
doing,
we would
okay.
pass.
Sanitation is passed. Okay, and the sanitation is the 1 million that we would charge the residents, how much for the year?
$102.48 more.
Extra,
for
per
the
year.
year.
okay. I
That's
can
been
live with that.
$25 every 3 months.
That's,
Or 28 cents per day.
Yeah.
okay, so Mr. Manager, is that a, okay. All right. So, okay, so sanitation, okay, although I'm not thrilled, but I see majority is okay in a compromise, I'm okay with that. All right. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'm good.
But what we want to mention about that $356 is not like you're paying Westwood $356. That's the minimum we can get for the pickup of our sanitation.
And trash.
That's mean if we're willing to pay whatever it is to get or different, that's mean it's way, way different. The stormwater was $74. They're gonna add $40. That's mean no, it's less than that.
It's $1 million.
You say million, okay.
So right now, Mr. Manager, you are 2 million, if I'm.
No, we're not.
But you can't have this.
No, we're not.
One on the general fund side, one in.
The other one doesn't have fund, is affecting the enterprise. The only thing we have is the 1.1 so far.
So you're not doing too bad.
I should be on the mic. I
All right.
apologize.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mayor, next.
Move to
Okay.
adjourn?
Galvin.
Okay, now, and
Are we,
Madam Clerk, first of all, let's,
are we lowering any of our events?
we're gonna do that. Madam
Can't
Clerk,
adjourn.
Yes,
do you have
Mr. Mayor.
anything to say about the budget?
I echo Councilman Desome's sentiments about the advertising budget. Definitely, if we're expecting to increase passport application fees, individuals need to know that these services exist. And it's a very important service, especially for a lot of our residents. And so radio advertising, advertising through other means, which I have already explored, that will be necessary, at least on that aspect. And in general, to help keep individuals informed about what's going on throughout the city, we definitely need to increase the advertising budget, at the very least. There were some other line item adjustments that I made. But I can meet with the city manager's office to go through that in a little bit more detail.
Wait,
If you don't mind, Mr.
Wait.
Mayor,
huh?
I was gonna ask the clerk, if you can put it on the record so will know,
No,
What-
let's,
let-
no, no,
let- let them
let-
do
let-
it like
let-
that?
let's,
okay.
No, she
So
can
you
discuss
will-
that, but
Okay.
We've already had a conversation about some of
Yeah.
the stuff, and I think we'll be fine.
You'll
and
be
she's happy with the budget.
I don't know if she's happy with the budget, but.
I mean, a lot
We
of it
just-
just has to do with the fact that, city staff needs to be certified, and if we're reducing that cost dramatically, then we'll just have uncertified individuals in the office, and I don't know who that helps. So,
What do you
things
mean?
like that.
What? Do,
We have certification, so clerks are supposed to be
Okay, so-
certified,
okay,
and,
okay,
right, and so those trainings
I
are
understand.
important, and so it's mostly things like that.
But they don't need
Okay.
to go to Europe to get certified, right?
I had no
No.
intentions of sending them to Europe.
Okay. Just
One
saying.
quick question. Under CPND, do we? No, I know. No, we gotta make sure. Under CPND, do we have a housing inspector? Because I don't
Yes,
see
you
that.
do, yes.
Yeah.
Where?
It's
So
budget. for
It's,
it.
it's budgeted there, half of it is budgeted, on the, CRA and
Yeah.
half in the general fund. So you only see it as a 0.5
They
No,
don't
it's
have
not
general
here.
on
yet,
the
but
general
it's in
fund
the
side.
budget.
Oh,
But
it's
it is
not
a
here
full-
yet,
but
but
it-
it's in the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, those
It's
are,
there.
okay.
And remember, we said 29 hours for the cleaning crew. And you said you had a department which is going to be housing one.
Yeah, it's split. We took, housing, social services out of the umbrella of CPND, and it just will be a separate department on its own.
Will you present that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be in the, I think we did it on the, is it on the online version?
Is it?
No.
What you say,
Yeah,
present?
it'll
It's
be in the
there.
final,
Service Department.
we'll
It's
make
under
it in the final
CPND,
presentation.
but it's gonna.
Right, but he
We'll-
just
No,
mentioned
he's
that it's
gonna do
going
it
to be
inside.
split. Okay,
Yeah,
We'll,
it's
it'll be
gonna
in the
be
final,
internal.
we'll make it in the final presentation.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, now.
Move to adjourn?
What
Kel.
about our events? Councilman?
Okay, for
I mean, we got 700,000 in parties.
what do you mean
We're-
parties?
we're cutting money.
Okay, first of all, for discretionary, I think everybody talked about discretionary, and I think we have $50,000 for discretionary plus $20,000 for trees.
No, not, that was last year.
Yeah, but this year, what do we have for discretionary?
45.
45 for total.
45 plus your 7.
52.
What do you mean? Can you?
You have, so remember you had two pieces. You had 7,000 that was in your office budget,
Mhm.
and then we had the
50.
50 in the, no, not
Mhm.
50, it was
50.
70. Previously,
50 plus 20 for trees.
yeah, 50 plus 20 plus trees, correct.
Mhm.
Now you have 7 still in your operating budget, and then 45 of everything else.
What do you mean
Total.
everything else?
So between your tree and the capital,
Why is that?
It
that
went
was
down.
just, that was just.
We want. I want the 20,000 people. You got to take it from people who don't use that 20,000 for trees. But my,
I got,
No,
I
as a
got,
matter of
no,
fact,
you
I
can't
need
do
more
that.
than I'm. Okay, for
I'll
discretionary.
do that.
I'm the mayor of the city. I cover 4 districts. I need more than $50,000 for my discretionary. Secondly, the 20,000 for tree. Every year I use my money.
Yes, you do, sir.
Okay, for the district.
I got it.
Okay, and now for the entire city, that's when I think I need more money for tree. And as a matter of fact, when you work the budget and we can use that money for trees, and I don't know how much you're gonna give me, but we need
Are we
that.
allocating an amount for trees? Because we have. the
We're gonna do
discretionary-
tree and community outreach together, between tree and community outreach.
Okay.
But
That will
can
be
we have
the
a-
that will be the
That's our
the title.
discretionary is
No, it's
community
coming next time.
outreach?
Huh?
So our discretionary is going to be community outreach?
No.
Discretionary is discretionary. That's mean
Yeah.
it's either
Especially-
you said $50,000, you give it to public works for capital improvement, or you keep it for discretionary. That's mean if we say capital improvement, it's better to put it on.
And give it to friends and family.
No, it's either you say discretionary or capital improvement. Now, if it's capital improvement, you just transfer it to public works. If
Okay.
it's discretionary, it's discretionary, and I think, as a matter of fact, I should get more for that. And we just been to an election, and it was not a.
My proposal was to keep it at the 77.
not
from
77. It's 50.
No, I
plus
know, but I'm
7.
saying that when you
Combined.
know what I'm saying.
I
And
know
the
what you're
20
saying.
The 20 for
50,
trees
20,
and
I would say
some-
tree and community
and
outreach
community,
for the
whatever,
20.
whatever
Yeah.
that they do. That was my proposal. Anybody else on the floor could do whatever they need.
But as far as personnel,
But there was a reference
Trying
that
to
Vice
find
Mayor
money
made.
here.
Excuse me, Vice
we're
Mayor,
gonna
you
find
made
money. Go
a
ahead.
reference about giving it to friends and family. Would you like to
Okay.
elaborate? Because what do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at the,
The ledger?
I have not gotten the ledger. I've been asking for it, so I don't have it, but I
It's
have looked
online.
at it.
It's not online?
Well-
I see
Well,
it's
the
online.
expenditures are.
Yes.
Every
what-
check.
The expenditures are online. I'm not accusing anybody up here.
Well, you just made an accusation.
Because there's a lot of checks to a lot of individual people, and I can't tell because it all says mayor and council.
Let me,
But-
let me be clear. Hold on,
And
Mr.
there are
Mayor.
a lot of individuals up there,
I-
or in
but-
there, and little organizations that maybe it's an organization, but it's still an individual person, and a lot of money has gone out.
But the fact that you could sit here and you could make, and it's absurd,
And I'm not.
that, well, you just said something, and
look-
we need
look
to
at the
clear.
checks, okay.
Well, no, you can look, because I have
But
looked at
you
the
have the
checks.
list. The list is everywhere.
Yeah,
The
so
list of the check. You
fact
can
that
just pull it.
You
and
would say, Vice Mayor, that people are giving it to friends and family. I would say I feel offended because you need to walk that back, because I have never.
Maybe not family. this
Well,
year.
you know what?
I mean, I'm looking at the.
I'm looking too,
checks.
because I don't want
people
this to
say-
be
you
all
know,
night.
People say
No,
whatever
but
they want these
I
days,
understand
man.
that, Mr. Mayor, but for her to say that publicly, I don't have no friends or family.
I didn't say. it was
No,
you.
no, 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 Vice Mayor,
I
you,
can't
you,
tell
you
who
say
it is.
something.
I
Well,
ca-
if you can't tell, then because there's a
Because
say.
I've been asking
I
for it.
understand it's online, but the fact that
It's
you would
not
sit
on-
here,
it is
yes, it
not
is, because I've
online.
seen it.
What's not online?
It's
I
not-
don't know why she's saying
All
that's
the
not online.
checks, Mr. Manager.
All the checks are online, but they're not
Exactly.
broken down.
All the
It's
checks
just-
are online, right?
it's
And
just
they
to
break
mayor
down
and
by
council.
who issued the
Yes.
checks and the amount.
No.
So the
Just
fact that
our
she would
office.
say, so if they're not online, then you're just throwing out things out there saying
The
that, oh,
name- the
just friends
names
and
are online,
family.
But I can't tell who spent them.
I'm sorry?
I have been asking for several months. That's why I wanted that before the budget. There's a lot of expenditures.
Why you cannot do that? She cannot get
It's-
it. Vice Mayor cannot get it, Mr. Manager.
It's the 77,000 that we have.
Wait.
So for her
Wait,
to make
Alice.
something like that, this is crazy.
There's a lot of money
She'll,
going out
she'll
there.
have her
What's,
report in the morning,
but
sir.
no, but Mr.
That's
Manager,
when she been asking for it. She never got it. The author saw it. The city manager say it's you.
I'll make sure she has a report in the morning, sir.
How long she been asking for the report?
She has asked for the report before.
Huh?
She asked for it before.
And you never provided?
She reminded me today of the report. So I'll make sure she has it in the morning.
And Sunday,
People gonna
last
think
week.
that you been hiding something.
It's not.
I don't hide anything,
I don't think he's
sir.
hiding it. I just haven't
Yeah,
been
but-
getting it.
Discretionary, but
I-
I don't hide it.
yeah, but my thing is a council
Can you put it
person-
online? People can see exactly
It's online.
every
So-
council member
let me-
who we give money to.
So let me clear something up. And I want to be clear, because I went through this whole thing already with Councilman Galvin. The transparency portal and the data there has all
of
of
it.
this information. It is online right now. We do a separate like a sub report for our internal use. So you know sometimes when you send your request and I'll say, hey, you're a little shy here, or we got to change. We need to update that report so we can give it to the councilwoman. So it's not something that is just pushed out of the system.
Give it to
something that we have
everyone,
to do.
please.
Right.
Yeah, but going back to the point that a council person would sit here and say that other members are giving taxpayer money to friends and family, it's a
Maybe
little bit
I'll
absurd.
I'll retract
Um,
family.
I'm sorry, whichever councilwoman you say friends. First of all, a lot of people I said are friends or organization in this community. So the fact that unless you have background information exactly what you are saying, because I don't go and say checks that you give out to your organization, they are friends. So the fact that,
They are my friends.
okay, so why would you
Okay,
throw
but
it out
if you
there
say that,
like
you
if
give
they
it
are
to
your
your
friends?
friends too.
Because I'm guilty too, but mine are a lot less.
Jesus.
What you mean
I'm
give it
guilty
to your
too.
friend? Who's
Oh, people that I'm,
Okay.
okay? If
This
you
is
say give it to your friend and family,
Because
that's been
Councilman
Move to adjourn.
Galvin- Yes,
Second.
yes.
It's not everybody
That Mr.
waiting
Galvin-
there yet.
No, Mr. Galvin, I do agree. Mr. Galvin just said here and said a constituent X 420. Do you consider that constituent a friend or a family, whatever the case is? I have the homeowners or group that you give to. Where does the line stop where people would not assume that people are stealing or are doing illegal stuff, or because what's being accused here is people are being unethical or whatever the case is. And I already state before, respect goes a long way. I have not tell anybody what to do with their funds or whatever the case is, because there's this assertion that folks from other side of the city does not pay taxes. So whatever funds people need to tell people what they need to do with their particular funds. And I'm a little sick and tired of it. You know what? If somebody, whoever got them vote for you, let them deal with you with your particular problem. But the fact that somebody who I consider a colleague will sit here and make an accusation that council members are giving money to friends and family, it's absurd.
Well,
I don't have no family in this city.
I didn't accuse you,
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm taking my name out. I don't have no family. I had a nephew and a niece who lived here. Now they live in Homestead. My mom
Okay,
does not even,
I'm
I have
retracting.
no one who lives here who is connected with me. This entire community is my friend.
Okay,
So
I'm
the
very-
fact that somebody would say,
Councilman, I will apologize.
I
I'm gonna
understand,
retract
because
that.
this is-
I'm a very sarcastic person, but there is way too much money going out of this city.
and everybody
Our tax-
respect
and
that.
And that is not fair to our taxpayers.
But guess what, Councilwoman? I just sat here and went over a damn budget that over 100 and something million. You sat there, you gave your opinion, and I respect that. I just went over line by line what I felt that was very spendful spending. For you to sit here to say, well, I feel that this line item, $77,000, is spending a lot. You did not go and talk about the different departments where you feel that are overspending, which I think there's plenty in this budget.
I have
But the
already-
fact
I
that,
have
because you
already
have
done
done this
that.
a lot.
I didn't do it
You
up here. I've
Well, you
already
have
done
done
that.
this a lot because your thing is always when you get some emails from folks, you talking about events. Oh, there's a lot of events and this and this. And that. Well, hell, City of North Miami Beach, which is way less than us, spent almost $1 million in event. Miami Beach, over $1 million. City of Miami, every city, and I went and looked at their budget. So if we're gonna hide behind these things, oh, there's an event here, or the council is spending $87,000 here. No, let's talk about what's real. I understand that and I respect that, and I'm a little sick and tired of it. This BS with the event here or the council having $77,000 to send this and this out. Well, hell with it. Guess what? We all pay taxes. So if my people want to give me $77,000 to spend, yes, let them do that. If your constituent have problem with it, then they deal with you. Because it gets to the point where you can't, I can't take it no more because every time is this event. If your constituent does not want event, I understand that.
Councilman Desilme.
It's to the point, Mr. Mayor. where
We
this
just
is
had
crazy.
an election, and it just seems like people
But
don't
they
want to
don't
put the
respect
result
that. They
behind
do
them.
not respect
They
folks.
just talk about
who,
if we can
this is.
listen. Some
Mr.
people
Mayor,
just
Mr. Mayor,
say
if I
whatever
might,
they want to.
I
Please.
think, if I might, I think we've given strong direction to the administration. Right now, things are starting to get a little heated. It is genuinely time to adjourn this meeting if there's not other
Second.
constructive comments.
Are we done with
Don't
with
you want
the
to talk about events? Let's
Miss-
talk about events.
No, but I'm not
Mr.
gonna
Manager? Do you
get
have
on
the
events
direction
part.
on
Yeah.
how to move forward with the budget?
Yes, sir.
And
And I'll be meeting with you individually as well.
I'll move
okay,
to adjourn.
Madam Clerk, no, we haven't voted yet
On what?
on the budget. That's the first hearing. We got what we want to do.
This is an ordinance. You don't need to vote tonight. You vote on the final.
On the
ordinance,
second
the
one.
Second one, yes, sir.
Quick question, Mr. Manager, before we, and I'll second that, Councilman Galvin. Would you have enough time, all of the feedback that we give you as commissioners to go back in within a week?
Well, it's gonna be less than a week. So right now,
Okay.
so by tomorrow, I will let you know.
Yeah, plenty of time.
We do have our
They
second
can
meeting
move the
already
second
scheduled
hearing.
for the 17th.
They
So
can remove
we
the
can, if we work hard in the next 48 hours, we can get the budget turned around, get it advertised, because we have a 2 to 5 day advertising requirement, and then. Okay, well, we'll get it in, so we'll work on it.
Actually,
Madam Clerk, we're gonna vote
Mayor.
on the budget.
yeah, I think based on.
Oh no, we got to vote.
Yeah,
I
based
didn't
on
pay
the language
attention
I'll
to
make
you
a motion,
guys.
Mr. Mayor. I make a motion that we approve the budget as amended through
The
the
first
evening.
with the
Seconded.
amendment, all the amendments that No, by directing
No, 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 no,
staff
no, no,
to
no,
do
no.
the adjustment,
You're asking
the
us to do
necessary
direct-
adjustment,
No.
and when,
If you allow me,
Mhm.
approve the budget as listed with your direction to change it for the final meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
So wait,
we will see again.
They're gonna make the changes. If we
Okay.
don't approve something tonight, we're gonna have to re-advertise and have
We're
a
gonna-
third
we-
budget hearing.
Okay, we're gonna,
Approve it as
we're
is,
gonna
and
pass,
you've
not
given
as
me-
is.
Yes.
No, with the
Approve it
amendments.
as is with the direction that you've given.
We can
That's-
still vote
yeah.
it down on
Yeah.
second reading, but if we don't pass something tonight, this whole evening didn't.
No, we
happen.
understand that. We're gonna vote anyway. That's when if we don't vote it with an amendment, you won't change the book. You gotta bring me another book with
I'm
these
gonna-
changes.
Sir,
That's what it is.
I'm gonna bring you another book.
Okay,
But,
you have to bring me another book,
You will
an
have
amended budget based on what we.
the direction, sir.
Exactly.
But I'm
That's when
asking,
we gotta vote the direction also, not just
That's what
vote the book as it is.
That's what the amendments are, sir.
That's what we say with the amendments.
I'll make a motion that we
sir,
approve
sir.
the budget as presented with the direction to staff.
thank you.
And it was seconded by me, again.
I don't understand.
What your request is, Mr. Mayor, is what we're,
You're gonna pass the first reading with the amendment stated.
correct.
Okay, that's been
They
at
don't
the
want the
next
word
co-
amendment.
At the next council, at the next meeting, they have
Mr.
to
Mayor,
bring me a new book.
Mr. Mayor,
Correct.
I
Stay
really
at the
need you to hear me out, please. I need you
I
to
don't want
approve-
you, I
No,
don't
no,
want,
no.
okay, at the next, this is what I don't want to, because this is what you've been doing. We pass the budget, and after that, you bring me 2 pages, and at the end, in the middle of the year, when we asking you for the official budget book, we cannot get it.
I understand. You're asking me to update this.
Yes.
We have a new budgeting system, and we will be able to update this. What I'm asking you to do right now.
Why we cannot vote it with the amendment, that the red light, without the red light camera, for
Because
example?
the reason being, because we have such a short turnaround between today's meeting and my advertising deadline, I need you to approve it as
You
is.
you can push the second reading.
Yeah,
We have until the 30th of September
we
to
can-
pass
yeah,
the budget.
depart-
You
we
can,
we we-
yes,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
They did
yes.
it, they already passed it through, Department of Revenue.
Yeah.
So then that means we will,
The motion
we have
is
to change, we have to change the second
the
meeting.
motion is the passing the budget with the amendment.
Let me-
I'll turn to the city attorney. Mr. Attorney, is there a difference between making the motion to approve with direction, any different from making the motion to approve with amendments?
There's no difference. The only difference.
There's
is
no
what-
difference,
it-
then
it
let's,
it
I'll
There is a
us- it-
difference
it's gonna-
because you're
it's gonna
talking about
change-
tax, increasing our tax,
Sir,
right?
That
the
we-
managers has the direction that you've already voted. You actually took a vote on the items that you wanted to amend, and you gave him the direction to take those out. He can't come back to the next meeting with those in there with red light camera in the budget. I mean, everyone's here. It's been done in the public. It's not.
What, our issue is we have to do a public notice of a proposed budget. We're asking that this be the budget that we presented tonight is the proposed budget. The budget that we're gonna hear and go through.
The
will
second
be
reading, are
The
you
second
gonna?
reading, we
are
will
you-
make the changes
And you're
to
gonna
the
put
book
it out
and
there.
bring, and put and advertise that.
Okay.
Right.
I'll call the
Madam
question.
Clerk, how do you?
It's an ordinance, so we all in favor, right? Oh, you got a roll call, sorry.
We got a roll call. I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab B with directions as given to staff. The motion
Not
was
staff.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
mean staff? To
Administration.
the admin?
to the
Yeah.
administration.
No, it's the same. Okay. Okay.
To the city manager. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estime Irvin. Councilman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keys?
Yes.
Councilman Desilme?
No.
Mayor Bienemay?
No.
The item passes with a 3-2 vote.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Galvin,